Hey guys, welcome back to the JPM Performance Channel. It's been a couple of weeks since we've had a shop tour because I was off in Daytona. But look, I've got a new calendar for 2024, and here we are, February 1st. So didn't get to January, but I did convince Lisa to finally get my calendar, and she dropped it by, and there it is. Didn't have a shop tour last week because I had explained I went down to Daytona. So, quick Daytona recap. If you've never been to the Daytona 24-hour race and you are any sort of a car fan or a race fan in any fashion at all, go check it out. Why? Because you see things that you'll never see. So they've got super exotic street cars. All these manufacturers have all the brand new cars, high-end stuff, plus all the race cars. Pretty crazy. So if you've never been, put it on your calendar to go. Went down on Wednesday and went to the Road Racing Drivers Club meeting, or not meeting, but it was a dinner and awards presentation. And congratulations goes out to Ken Kennard, who is our 2023 Road Racing Drivers Club Mark Donahue Award winner. Pretty high honor. So we were able to go to the dinner. Eric Pearl and I flew down and met Jason Ott. And of course, Ken was there and his wife and his daughters. And then, Brian Redmond was there and Chip Ganassi was there and Bobby Rahal was the MC for the night. And Vic Skirmance ran into him and just big money guys. So a lot of famous people were at the event and ran into Lynn St. James out in the parking lot. So if you don't know who any of those people are, just Google their names and you can read up about all of their racing endeavors. So anyway, did the dinner. It was really good. The next day I started working with this MX5 Cup, Global MX5 Cup team, new team. Just got this car, didn't know much about it. The car hadn't been corner weighted, aligned, scaled, so we did all of that Thursday morning before the first qualifier. But this car was just down on power. So the driver's name is Parker DeLong, 15-year-old kid out of Arizona. His dad, Billy, really nice family. Parker's grandma was there, and Billy's girlfriend was with him, and we just had a really good time with that. But the car was not fast. And I thought for sure when we did an actual setup on the car that the car would start going faster, but it just didn't. And we couldn't figure it out. Went through the first race, the car was just slow. And I was like, I have no clue what's going on here. I mean, you have to plug into these cars. Anyway, long story short, they found out that night someone had some sort of a scanner that the oxygen sensor had gone bad. So they replaced the oxygen sensor, and in race 2, Parker started literally dead last at the back of the field, which I think was like 26th. And at the end of the race, he was 12th. So a heck of a drive. Kid's a heck of a driver. These guys are going to be someone to look out for in this series. So got that done, and then it was just time to hang out. So every year the IRAs are down there, so we got to see, of course, Greg and Cliff and Guy Marvin and Mark Marvin, and ran into Doug Piner. Even saw Grayson Upchurch, and who was down there, and just, got to see Patrick Gallagher, who was actually racing in the 24-hour race. And so it was really interesting. It's super high-end racing, which means it's super expensive, but it was a good time. So that's why we didn't have our shop tour. Made it through Daytona, made it back. Now we're back in the shop. So let's get into the shop tour. Okay, waiting on a head gasket for Mike Taylor's engine here, but should be here today, and then I can get this back together, and we'd be ready for him to come pick it up. But I think what's going to happen is, so after his engine, I'm going to be doing John Sewell's motor, which is an identical STL B18C engine. I'm going to work on John's next, and I think maybe these guys are going to make a trip and pick them both up at once rather than ship them. They're just going to drive from Georgia. Cost-wise, it's probably about the same and safer for the engines. So just about done with this engine. In the meantime, I did have, of course, my famous green differentials. This one is all finished, completed. I just need to pack it up here, get it shipped off to those guys. So that's good to go. And then I got in John Brackey's engine for his e-production BMW Z3. So this is basically a sister engine to my old BMW. They're identical engines. Same engine as what's in Doug Piner's car as well. Everything's the same. So a couple things I wanted to talk about. When you've got a cam that's broken in and you've got lifters that are still in good shape, something that I really would like to stress is you can see I've got, it's like a layout cart. So you can put valves in here, you can put camshafts, obviously not made for this length of camshaft. But what I'm doing is I'm starting at the front of the engine and I'm keeping these lifters in order, because what happens is these lifters get run into the lobes and then the lobes break in and they kind of mate. So it's kind of suggested that you keep your lifters on their mated lobe. So I'm going to keep these in order while I'm disassembling this. The other thing I wanted to talk about, I mean, you can see how long, you know, this camshaft is as long as my arm. When you're taking these apart, do not, and I want to stress this, don't just take this cap, rear cap, all the way apart and then start working your way forward. By the time you get to about right here, this cam's going to go snap in half. So what I do is I literally go a half a turn at a time, and I'm going to go all the way down, and I'm going to keep doing this, half a turn, half a turn, half a turn, half a turn, and then go back again and again and again and again. So it releases the pressure very slowly. These springs have a lot of spring pressure, and these cams are so long and there's so much force, and the fulcrum will snap your cam. So tip of the day, if you're working on a 6-cylinder, I would say honestly, even a Miata, you should loosen them a little at a time. Don't just zing them off, right? Don't get out your gun and just start zinging caps off. So there's my rant for the day. Okay. So did get a new project in. This is actually going to be a new engine for Stephen Power's F Production Miata. As any of you have been paying attention, they bought Sam Henry's F Production car, and so these guys want a spare engine. And so this is a transmission box, but I've done so many Miatas over the years that you can send me an engine as basically a bucket of bolts, because I can mix all the bits and pieces up and I can tell you exactly which bolt goes where. So this is going to be the core for a new engine for that car. So this just came in, so we're working on that. Obviously have John Sewell's box over there. I believe that the RX-8 is going to be picked up tomorrow. The last little piece that I did was he had me install some belts. When we did the roll cage, we had to remove the lower regular seat belt latch, and so I installed some, he had these sent to me, some nice Sparco belts, so when he comes and picks it up, he can totally be a racer boy and drive this baby home with some race belts in it. So we are looking good here. That'll be getting going. I need somebody to buy this MX-5. It's ready to go, T4 MX-5 for a good price. Somebody buy this car, please. I'm going to need some room here in the next month or so. So I honestly don't quite understand why someone hasn't bought it yet. If you have an idea, let me know. It's not that much money for a ready-to-go race car that finished in the top 3 at the runoffs just a few years ago. So call me. Okay, so Mazda 2 update. And actually, John just brought me a couple things. So for those of you that don't know, I got some rewards weight this winter. So 1968 is now going to go to 2045. So got 75 pounds put on the car, I suppose from my June sprints results from last June, which is okay. You know, you take everything with stride, but I'm still kind of chipping away at the car even though it's totally done. I did make these replacement covers for the stock, where the stock mirrors went, it was just kind of jankety looking. So I made these out of gloss black plastic, made a template, cut them out, got all those on there. If you're friends of mine on Facebook, then you probably saw the reel that I made about these. So if you haven't seen that, check that out on my Facebook page. But other than that, the car's pretty much done. One quick little interesting story at the sprints last year, in the first race, on the cool-off lap, I came into impound, and I get out of the car, and everybody's like, "Your left rear tire's flat." Well, I think I cut it on the cool-off lap because Lance Loftman had spun, and Ken Kennard kind of collected him a little bit, and there was some shrapnel because the car felt fine during the race. But what that means is I had to get one new tire. So these tires really didn't get a lot of abuse at the sprints last year. They do have some age on them now, but I think for the Eagles Canyon race, I'm going to run these 2 sets of tires and kind of see how the car does. Obviously have some good reins, but yeah, the car's just looking good. So I'm just in the middle of development. So we had talked about how I'm going to try and come up with a package for a few different items. So what I've got going on here is, you can see my second transmission's completely apart. The second engine is completely apart. I'm going to work on a package. I want to see if I can get some people interested in coming into H production with a Mazda 2, whether it be from B-Spec as an upgrade to want to go faster, or whether it be, just a new racer. So this is literally the only Mazda 2 that's currently running in H production that I know of, that's built to H production. So I'm trying to build, similar to what I did with the F production Miatas, I'm going to try and build a little bit of a kit when it comes to transmissions, engines, shocks, kind of make things a little easier for someone that might want to get into this class. So I'm going to kind of spend the season developing all of these bits and pieces, and then by the end of the year, after the runoffs, should be ready to go. So if any of you are interested in maybe building an H production Mazda 2, if you see me at the track, come on by, check the car out, and we can talk about what I've got going on for the future, and we'll see how that goes. So not going racing until next month. It's only February 1st, so I've still got like 6 weeks to wait, which is driving me a little crazy. I could go down to New Orleans next weekend, but it's a 15-hour drive, and honestly, if I'm going to go 15 hours, I'd probably rather go to Atlanta. So I'm not going to go to New Orleans. I'm going to try and be patient, work on some customer stuff, and go from there. But that's kind of the end of our shop tour. I appreciate you guys watching. I hope you had a good last couple of weeks. Appreciate you guys watching all the videos. I'm trying to keep up on some of the comments and things like that too. But I appreciate you guys watching. So have a good rest of your week, and I'll see you next week. Take care.